Hey everyone, so this is going to be a fun video, and today we're talking all about layers. Now, I feel like I can, almost call myself like Layer Bay or like the Layer King. I mean, it's like years ago when I did all the undercuts. People would call me like the Undercut King. Well, layers are near and dear to my heart. And in this video, and I really want you to watch this, this is going to be helpful if you are a client getting your hair cut or even a professional. Now, layers, just a simple phrase or the term layers is a technique. Layering is actually a technique. That's it. It's a technique designed to remove weight, and by removing that weight, it's going to give the hair a little more shape. It's going to give it a little more, movement, have it free flowing. It's great for feathering, all sorts of stuff. And layering, I think, is really essential. You could have a variety of different types of layers. So let's kind of break this down. So there's, round layering, there's triangular layering, there's square layering, there's different types of shapes. And it's really up to your professional, if you're a client, it's up to your professional to use the proper layering technique and shape that's going to work best for the haircut that you are getting, okay? And I get so many comments, and people saying, what should I ask my barber? Or what should I tell my barber? Or what should the barber do? I'm like, you're not paying me for the haircut. You're paying a professional. Talk to them. You know what I mean? Communicate with them. You're paying them for their time. You're not paying me for my YouTube videos. You're watching this for free. You have the complete right to ask and communicate with your professional. And if you don't communicate well, you can simply show a photograph to them, and that's it. I mean, now it's up to them to execute. And you can't blame the professional if they give you a bad haircut because you can't talk, or you don't know what to say, you don't know how to say it. Don't complicate it. I want my hair to be down to here. I want to have like some flow, or I want to see some pieces. Just communicate whatever comes to your mind, because chances are that's all you need. Don't be afraid. You're not going to be wrong. Just express what you want to say and communicate. The worst thing you can do is keep your mouth shut, have an expectation of what you want, and then get a bad haircut because you didn't say a word that they can follow. You didn't give them any guidance, okay? Now, layering, again, it really comes down to the type of haircut that you want. Now, myself as a professional for over 30 years, I tend to do a layering technique that I've been following for quite some time, and I base it off of more of a rounded shape, or aside from that, I basically cut the hair how it grows from the head. So let's take this mannequin head right here, and let's break this down. So the hair grows out from the head like this, okay? It grows out. It doesn't grow straight up everything. It grows out from the head. Now, it can grow out and forward. It can grow out and backwards. It can grow out and down. But it grows out from the head. So, depending on the shape, I would say 99% of the times, I'm cutting the hair to grow out from the head. I'm following and I'm trying to be as natural as possible for a number of reasons. One, I think it lays the best. And two, as the hair is growing out, it's going to grow out the best way, all right? There's nothing wrong with cutting square layers, rounded layers, triangular layers. There's nothing wrong with that. Concave layers, convex layers, So it really, really depends on the type of layers. But for me, I've noticed throughout my career, the crazier and more you try to change the shape of layering or the haircut, the more awkward it looks growing out, okay? I, myself, want a haircut to last a while. If you're a female getting a haircut, I want your hair to last, 5-6 months. Again, if you're getting a super short haircut, something like, like this, it obviously can only last for so long, right? You got to get a cut every 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is, 3 weeks. But if you want to have your hair a bit on the longer side and you want to grow it and you want to let it, you don't want to get a haircut every I want this to last 2 months, 3 months. I want you to come back to me with your hair looking phenomenal. And I've even had, I would say all of my clients would come in, even though I was cutting their hair short, and it would grow out phenomenal, especially the top. And I'd say, my gosh, your hair looks incredible. It's because of the attention to detail and the layering and the shape that I created so it follows their natural growth pattern. If I'm putting in let's just say square. So square layering is where you're holding it straight up and you're basically creating a square on the head. So it's going to go like this. The layering shape is going to be very, very square and boxy. So it's like this. This is great for somebody who maybe if you have somewhat of a rounded head and you want to keep things flat here, you want to kind of narrow down the head shape, you don't want fullness, then square, may be a good way to go. So that's one way. Triangular is where you're cutting it shorter to longer, and the front is going to be the longest point. So the layering is going to be a bit more going this way. So this is going to be a lot shorter, and the front here is going to be the longest point. So what that's going to do, again, that's great for rounded face shapes because it's going to kind of elongate and slim down the cheekbone area and the roundness. All right, and then round layers are great for people who want that volume, who need a little more boost in their hair, and they want to have more life. And that's typically how I cut the hair because I want to be able to add, I would say tons of fullness, but I try to cut the hair the way it grows out from the head. All right, so I tend to go with more round layers or just cutting it 90 degrees or straight out, from where the hair grows, which is like this, all right? So depending on the type of haircut that you want, the type of shape you want, as a consumer, is it important? Yeah, to a degree, because you may say to yourself, well, I don't like how it's so full into here all the time. I need it to lay a bit more flatter into here. But keep in mind, square layers, it's gonna be somewhat flat here and then very flat here and a bit boxy. So if you're trying to, again, slim down the roundness of the head, that may work for you. Same thing with triangular layers. So it's important to know that you have options as a consumer, as a client. And as a professional, you need to know all this stuff because of when somebody comes in, you need to know how to execute the technique and the different type of layering. Now, the next thing about layering is how short do you cut them? If you cut, layers too short, especially on a longer hairstyle like this, you're trying to leave the back longer, there's something that happens where it becomes very unbalanced. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had a haircut that just feels so off, that it's really, really short on top and a lot longer down here. It's very choppy. It doesn't look blended. I'd love to know and get your feedback because most of the times if I'm, when I was seeing a new client and I could tell right away that the haircut was very unbalanced. So my goal was to create that balance and even out the shape and even out the layering. And sometimes if it's too short, I'm like, look, this has to grow out. This is so bad that this has to grow out another 2-3 inches at least. And I would try to do my best to shape it up, but sometimes it's just, they did a butcher job on you and it's almost like you have no other hope to just let it grow. And then the next thing is, if you cut the layers too short, what's going to happen is, we'll get a little bit closer here, what's going to happen is, and if you want that, that's cool. If you want to have short layers and see the feathers way up here, and if it's done properly, it can look amazing. And I have loads of videos on my channel here about, short layers. Just type short layers, the salon guy, and you'll see all my layering videos on shorter hair. However, if it's not balanced properly and you're not wearing that specific type of haircut, it could be, you have to do damage control. It's too late. It's a hack job. All right, so that goes for that. Now, however, on the flip side, if you take a haircut like this and you see all these short layers in through here, well, the layers have to be short because we're going for more of a textured, shorter hairstyle. But then again, these could be too short and this front could be way too, it could be way too long or it could be unbalanced and it's not properly blended together. So you can see it goes gradually from shorter into longer and has the flow. You can see the flow into here. That's cutting it more triangular, going shorter to longer, okay? Shorter to longer. If I were to cut this more rounded, this would be a lot shorter and it would be a lot more even this way, and this wouldn't be so kind of high up in front. So I would be taking off quite a bit more length. And if I were to cut this in more of a square shape, it would look very, very boxy, right? Right now it's coming to a point because I did kind of like a faux hawk, but it would look, somewhat flat here and then very flat this way. So it would be like this. So yeah, it really depends on the haircut that you want. Sometimes you need short layers. Sometimes you need longer layers. If the layers are too long, that's another problem where it weighs the hair down and it's just not flowing properly because you may want that volume, you may want that lift, you may want that, voluminous type of look. So the layers are just too long. And I've seen that happen way too often. And I've even had clients in the past, they're like, well, I think I want the layers a little shorter. I'm like, oh, okay, do the whole thing over again. But layers can be too long too. So the layering could be a dilemma, but it also could be absolutely amazing. So let me know in the comments below if you like your layering story. Are you new to layers? Do you have a professional who's cutting your hair who gets the layering right? Have you had a hack job on your hair where it's very unbalanced? And also, if you notice, I've been using this comb right here. This comb is now available on my shop.thesalon.com. It's a, listen to this thing, okay? I'm just gonna use this as an example. All right. It's a very, very, very solid comb, and it really is fantastic. So it's a great wide tooth comb for accentuating those layers. It's carbon, so it's a really, really amazing quality. This thing is solid, and I invested in a ton of these things. So there's a lot available at shop.thesalon.com, and if you use code YouTube20, you get 20% off, believe it or not. So here we go with the comb, and I appreciate you all watching. So again, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.